Golden Ticket. My name is Jennifer Alice Murray, and my business ally, Julie Mai, gather here with some trusted other allies and their guests to basically go over some of the aspects of our network marketing business that we feel make it add up to being a golden ticket. I used to co-own a restaurant out here with my sister, and wrote 3 cookbooks, have had a couple different kinds of business endeavors. And when this one came along, like a lot of people, I was super skeptical. I didn't really know anything about the industry, but I had a lot of opinions about it nevertheless, and tried to ignore my friend as best as I could for a couple of months before I finally decided to try the products. I will talk about the products a little bit later in the call, but having such a great experience with them led me to tiptoe into a business, only to find, honestly, that it was the simplest, most straightforward business I had ever discovered, and was a lot easier on me than running a restaurant, for example, or owning a private business, and for lots of reasons that maybe aren't very obvious to people right at the outset. Your friend comes along, maybe is talking about a product, or doesn't really know what they're doing because they're new in the industry, and it seems maybe a little harebrained, maybe a little far out, maybe just really far off the track of what you know and what you know how to do and what you feel confident that you could accomplish. That was definitely the case with me. I wasn't convinced that this was an industry that I could really advance at and earn enough money to make a living. So it was a journey of discovery. We're trying to create a shortcut for you to see that journey a little more clearly, a little more quickly, because especially just the way that the times are now, things changed a lot for people this year. There are a lot more people out there that are looking for a different way, and hopefully a better way. And this wellness industry that we are in is just growing and growing and growing. Even amid everything challenging in the world, the wellness business is just really taking off. So like I said, we'll talk about the products a little bit more later. Right now, I'm going to introduce Julie to you. She is someone who I met 7.5 years ago when I was still very skeptical about the industry. I went to a group meeting, literally in a park, sitting under a tree, and I expected her to talk about selling a product. I expected to hear tips on how I could be a good salesperson. And that's not what I found at all. I found a really inspired woman, a jewelry designer, and a mother who was starting to think really big, to really off of the little rock that we live on and out into the world, that even from this island that's 25 miles wide and thousands of miles separated from the rest of the country, that we could grow and build something powerful, something that would sustain us all, kind of beyond our wildest dreams. And that is exactly what we have done in the last 7 years. And we're here to share that with you. Julie Mai, if you would love to share that big vision you have become so famous for with us.
Thank you, Jennifer. Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for being here. I see a lot of familiar faces. I always love seeing all the faces, and I love when your Zoom cameras are on because I feel like I'm actually talking to somebody. So thank you for having your cameras on. And if you're a guest here for the first time, I just want to say thanks for showing up. And it took a lot of courage for the person to invite you to be on the call today. And you're just, if anything, this isn't about selling you anything. This isn't about, this is really just education. And that's what I'm passionate about, because when I found this about 7.5 years ago, I realized that I was really uneducated. I just didn't know what this industry was. And unfortunately, it gets a bad rap, and there's a lot of skepticism because a lot of people do it the wrong way, or they don't actually know what they have their hands on. And so it's become my passion to educate people, share my story, and really let people know that this is truly one of the most beautiful ways that you can do business, when you can fall in love with a product or service that changes people's lives, and just really grow a business by helping other people. So there's some construction going on, so hopefully that won't be too in the way. But you guys, I'm just going to tell a little bit about my story so you kind of hear where I'm coming from, and then I'll kind of go into the industry and why I really fell in love with it. But I'm just a mom. I live on a little island out in the middle of the Pacific called Kauai, one of the most beautiful places on the planet. I'm so grateful that I get to call this my home. About 7 years ago, I found myself as a very busy entrepreneur, businesswoman. I was juggling two little girls at the time. My husband was a full-time mason, and he was always working. And that's where I found myself as I was doing nighttime waiting tables, as well as building this big jewelry design company that we created, my husband and I. And what I found is, as the business started to get more popular, as it started to grow, it was taking the one thing that I wanted most, that I started my business for, was to be the mom that I wanted to be to my kids. And as my business grew and as it became more successful, the time that I had with my little girls was getting less and less, and they were getting pushed farther and farther away. And what I mean by that is I was passing them on to other people to take them to the beach. People were picking them up and dropping them off, and I just wasn't able to be the mom that I wanted to be. And so, there was a moment in time where I was literally on my knees going, this is not the life that I wanted for myself. This is not the mom that I wanted to be. And I knew that if I kept going down that road, that if I kept doing the do and jumping into that wheel day after day, doing the same thing, I knew that I was going to wake up in 5-10 years and I was going to miss the most beautiful part of my children's lives. And I knew that because that pretty much happened to me. My mom worked so hard. She worked tirelessly creating this incredible business. She was an entrepreneur. She really instilled that spirit into me, but it came at a cost. She literally worked day in and day out, sometimes 70 hours a week. And I didn't have much of a relationship with my mom growing up because she was doing what she thought was the best thing. And we're all taught that. We're all taught to go out, get a job, work hard, and hopefully create the life that we want. But unfortunately, a lot of us, that comes at a sacrifice. And so I didn't know how. I did know what I wanted, and that was more time. I didn't want to be a bum on the street without being able to provide for my family and only have the time. And I realized, maybe you can relate to this, that there seems to be two kinds of people in the world: people that have all the time in the world and no money, and people that have all the money in the world and no time. And so when this fell in my lap and I saw a girlfriend of mine, just like you were invited to this call, said, I want you to check out these products that's changing my family's life. And of course the red flags went up, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to try and sell me something. Last thing I want to do is be sold or be, asked to join some network marketing company or some business where I have to sell things. But I was open enough just at least to listen. And that's why I want to thank you for being open enough to being on this call and just hearing what we have to say. Because what I learned at that meeting was, it was a little bit different. The product blew my mind. I was like, this is different than I've ever seen. And I decided at that moment that I wanted to try it. I wanted to try the product for myself. I wanted to share it with my mom, who was struggling with her health. But I also decided I wasn't going to do another business because I was so busy already doing what I was doing. But I wanted to share it. So I just got a few products to share. And what I realized is I started to feel better, and I started to research the product and learn that they were different. And what that helped me do is understand that sometimes when you're asking for something, things show up in unusual packages. And so I got that little business under the bed, the business in a box that I shoved under the bed, and I started to do my research. And I decided that I wasn't going to listen to my best friends who told me that thing doesn't work, or my auntie who said, oh no, people, they want to make money off of you doing those things. Those things are pyramid schemes, or whatever, all of the skepticism out there. I decided, instead of listening to someone who didn't have what I wanted, I was going to actually do my own research and find out what this truly was. And you guys, what I found is some of the most incredible business-minded people on the planet, people like Jim Rohn, people like Sir Richard Branson, people like Tony Robbins, some of the most successful business-minded people in the world, they either teach, own, or support network marketing. And the reason for this is because what network marketing truly is, you guys, is it's just real world business education. It's not so much selling products. It's not so much trying to get your friends and family to buy products. If you want to create a big business, it's really about teaching people how to unlock their networks of people who want the same thing that you and I want. And I'm guessing that you're like me. And the one thing that we all want more of is time. We just want more time with the people that we love. We want more time to do the things that we want to do. I know that all of us, when we're at the end of our life, we're not going to look back and wish that we would have worked more, that we would have spent more time with the people that we didn't want to spend with. And so that's when I really understood the power of what this industry could do for me, because the difference, you guys, of this versus traditional business is that with this, you're able to create leverage. And leverage means that you create a wheel, like an economic engine, that continues to work with or without you. So unlike being an employee or a business person like myself, where I had to, whatever I could create with my two hands, whatever that was for the day, and I sold it to my stores, I would get paid for. I see one of my good friends, Sarah, on here, she's a teacher. If she doesn't go to school and teach her children, she's not going to get paid. But if you can do with something like this, you can do your work one time. You share a product or service that you madly fall in love with that's changing people's lives, and you get paid over and over and over again. And that is the beauty, that is the magic of passive residual income, which we're not taught about. We're not taught passive residual income in college or high school, unfortunately. I know that if there was a class called Wealth 101, I think we all would have signed up for it. But unfortunately, we're not taught that. So it's self-education that we got to do. And that's what I learned about this, is that I could multiply my efforts by the efforts of other people who all wanted the same thing as me. And we could create this incredible, beautiful business, wheel, this leverage wheel for all of us to really benefit from. So one of the things that I also fell in love with absolutely right out of the gate is I learned that it wasn't so much about me. You know, with traditional business, you don't necessarily want to teach everyone your secrets. If you're a business owner and you own a restaurant, you don't want everyone else to know all of your secret recipes. Or for me, making jewelry, I didn't want everyone to know my secret ways that I made the jewelry, because that person would then turn around and be my competition. But with something like this, which I absolutely 150% think is the most beautiful thing that we have in this industry, is that I want to teach the new person. If you see the vision, I want to teach you how to be better than me. Because if you're better than me, then everyone wins. The rising tide raises all ships. And by helping other people, you win. And so it's really just such a beautiful business model that we get to be a part of, because it's not about us, it's about everybody else. So I want to play a little video. Kamila, if we can play a little video by the one and only incredible business entrepreneur and mentor, Tony Robbins. He is going to just do a little 2.5 minute explanation of why network marketing is so much smarter and why it truly is the business of the 21st century. It's muted, babe. Give us 1 second. There we go.
You've been around a long time. You've seen a lot of different things. What are your thoughts about network marketing in general? And what is your thoughts about the decision that people can make to become entrepreneurs using it?
Well, it's interesting. I'm doing this program right now, and I got a room, of a couple thousand people from 44 countries. They're all business owners. Some of them are businesses that are approaching $1 billion. Some of them haven't even started yet, right? They're just picking their business. So it's really variety. And one of my goals in that event is to actually get people to not go on business. And the reason it sounds horrible is someone spends $10,000 come to an event. I told them up front, some of you are not made for this, because to run a business requires a certain natural capacity and nature, if you would, besides skills that you learn. And it's the ability to handle risk. It's the ability to handle stress. It's the ability to do a lot of different things. And you have to be able to manage finance. So most people, they have some of those skills. And that's why every year, 50% of businesses that start are out of business. You look at over any 5-year period of time, 80% are out of business. And over a 10-year period of time, only 4% make it. Now, make it doesn't mean that they're making any money, right? That just means they're still standing. 96% fail. And after 10 years, you're set, right? No. Look at Lehman Brothers, right? Around for a century. They combined $1 trillion in revenue over that century, and they're gone. So the world, technology changes, products and services changes. It's so competitive. So to really be successful, it's a really unique situation. What's beautiful about network marketing is you get all the benefits of being an owner, but you don't have to be worrying about supply chain. You have to be worried about accounting, especially in the world we're in today. I mean, network marketing used to be a little bit more different, but today with technology, you can know what's happening in real time. The companies have already set up the software, they know what happens. So it's really picking the right company. And there's a lot of great companies in that area. And it's really realizing that you're really a value creator. If you can go out and add value to other people's lives, if you can just introduce people to a product or a service that a company represents that truly is extraordinary, some products and services can't just be thrown up on Amazon. They need the story to be told. And if you found a product or service of that nature and you got a company that has a generous schedule of being able to reward you, and then you begin to get leverage where it's not just you, where you multiply your efforts to other people, then you get all the benefits of being a business owner without all the headaches and without the same level of risk. And so I think network marketing is amazing. Now, network marketing has a mixed reputation, and we all know that, right, in the marketplace. And anybody goes out there, what are you doing? That's why you got to own yourself as a professional. I think that's why I'm supportive of what you do, because you're not just pumping people up, you're giving people real skill sets to be a pro.
Awesome. So I think too, one of the things, the reason why people have a bad idea or a bad taste in their mouth is because people don't take it seriously. Now, the cool thing about network marketing is you can start your business for a very small cost. There's a very low startup cost, but that's a double-edged sword because people, when you start a traditional business, like Jennifer was mentioning her restaurant, they had to go to the bank and get a $300,000 loan or maybe more, right? For my jewelry, it was over $10,000 that I had to invest into my business to become successful. But with something like this, it's a small startup cost. So people don't take it super seriously to learn the skills to be professional. But when he said that 96% of businesses fail in 10 years, to me, that was just like, why in the world would you want to do a traditional business if that is your statistics of winning? Even if you have an incredible business, it's just so hard to be successful at business. I also really appreciate when he said that the world is changing. I've been reading and I've been looking even before the COVID craziness happened, that the world is going to change more in the next 10 years, maybe even less in the next 5 to 10 years than it has in the last 70. And the reason for that is because technology and AI and things are moving so quickly, and we're going to have self-driving cars pretty soon, and the amount of jobs that are going to get wiped off of the what we know and completely gone and replaced by technology is astounding. I was just on the phone the other day talking to a sweet woman. Her name was Dorothy, and she was telling me that she's worked in a hospital up on the mainland for nearly 20 years. She's poured her life into this career, and her and 50 of her other employees just got notice that they're all losing their jobs because a computer is going to replace what they have done for the last 20 years. So you guys, it's real. It's happening. She was like 4 years away from retiring, and she was in tears telling me this. And that's when I realized that there is a major disruption in the marketplace, that so many people are looking for something different, especially now with what's happening in COVID. And if you look at this industry and how big it's grown just over the last, couple of years, and how many more people are understanding that if you can have a phone and if you can have, wireless service, that you can literally build a multi-million-dollar business from the palm of your hand. And we are the first generation to be able to do that. So it's super duper exciting to be able to be a part of something. How many lives that I've seen changed over the course of the last 7.5 years, how many lives I've seen change from their health standpoint to a business standpoint to a financial standpoint. I wish I could pour that all onto you right now and just let you know that the emotional compensation that I get from educating people that there is a better way, that they don't have to be struggling, that you don't have to be clocking in and clocking out for the next 40 years of your life to probably not even retire on half of what you're making right now. You guys, that is the truth. And it's sad and it's a harsh reality, but we do have something that can help you create the life that you always wanted to create. I'm going to pass it back to Jennifer to talk about our amazing products, and then I'm going to kind of finish it up at the end. We like to keep these calls short and sweet. But Jennifer, why don't you tell us a little bit about why LifeVantage and what we have is so different and so unique, and then I'll tie it up at the end.
Yes, thank you, Julie. In addition to everything that she's talking about, we actually do have products that that you love and that you want to take and that make you feel better. The FDA does not allow anyone who is not a pharmaceutical to say that we're in the business of healing or treating or preventing. So I don't want to give you that impression, but we do use all, natural products to have the effect essentially of anti-aging. The goal of the scientists that started our company, I also like that our company was started by scientists and not businessmen, essentially. These guys worked their whole careers, like 40 years, to develop something that would have this kind of effect. And they tried most of that time to develop a pharmaceutical, only to figure out in the twilight of their career that plants work better for this purpose. And the purpose is essentially to increase your health span. We all know that we have a lifespan, we're not sure what it is, but to be fair, like most of us are really not looking forward to the end of our lives. Most of us are not really thrilled and don't have a lot of like great visions for what it feels like to be 80 or 85 or 90 or 95. We just sort of tuck that away into the back of our minds and decide not to assess it too much. And basically our plan is sort of hope for the best, do what you can, hope for the best. And these scientists, thankfully, were not satisfied with that plan. And they spent decades trying to have this effect on the human body. It's a lot to squeeze into a few minutes here. There's a lot I could say, but there's also so much that I would leave out. So we definitely encourage people to keep the research going and just know that this is a teaser. The category of product that we find ourselves in is called nutrigenomics. So apologize for the huge word, just breaks down to mean that we are using nutrients to affect genetic expression. It's a really deep concept. We're just using mostly herbs, plant extracts that communicate with our cells, with our cell receptors, and send messages right into our DNA, into our genetics through these very elaborate protein pathways. I'm grateful that I don't have to understand it, that I can just feel it and that I can trust, and that the science is there. We have some incredibly profound science behind our products. We have peer-reviewed studies. That is the highest level of evidence and proof that you can get in the scientific community. And actually, we have a call in a couple of hours with our dear Kamaile, who's here on the Zoom, and she takes 30 minutes to basically walk you through the science, the details behind our flagship brand, that our nutrigenomic product, our mind-blowing, one-of-a-kind, can't buy it in any store product that essentially detoxifies your cells, bringing healing to the mitochondrial cycle of your cells, which is giving you the energy that you need to live on, that a lot of us start to feel is fading away as we get older. And essentially, it's keeping our survival genes functioning and being expressed, and it's just really astonishing to get down to the nitty-gritty and see that we are able through plants to essentially silence our deadly genes, silence those genes that we do not want expressed, that we know it's possible are lurking inside of us if we look at our family history and all of that. It's a really special time in science and in wellness that we have come to this point where, it's been a few decades. It's not so new that we hardly know what we're talking about, but it's still, we're the ones getting the word out there. We're the ones that know about this. Now you're one of the ones that know about this. And we're responsible for letting people know that there's this other way that you can treat your body to get the absolute best out of it. I was 38 years old when these products came along. I seriously was getting out of bed feeling like an 85-year-old minimum. And I'm 46 today and genuinely feel younger and feel like I might even look younger than I did 7.5 years ago. So can't recommend the products quite enough. Genetic tuning, look into it. I'll pass it back to you, Julie. We'll wrap this up.
Love it. Genetic tuning. Let's tune those pianos. Absolutely. And like she said, we could literally sit here and talk about the science and how incredible these products are for hours. And Kamiley does have her call at 2:30. So please let the person know who invited you if you want to be on that call, because it's a great overview of what these are and why it doesn't work on the shelf, because you can't put all of the amazing science onto a label. So just to finish up, I'm just going to go over a couple of reasons, why this business is such a great addition to whatever you're doing. I'm not saying to quit your job and go gung-ho and just do this, but I will tell you that there's so many positive reasons why. We like to say that we're working full-time on our job. When I was doing the jewelry, I was working full-time on my job and part-time on my fortune, because there's not a lot that you can do part-time that will create a residual asset for you. The first thing I like to say, which I already touched on, was the low risk. You really have nothing to lose. If anything, maybe you're not going to become a millionaire or super duper successful, and that's fine. But what you will learn as a person, what you will learn about business, what you will learn about how to become a better leader in your own life, is you can't put a price tag on that. The flexibility that you can fit this into the nooks and crannies. I'm a busy mom. I have 4 children now, had 2 when I started. I had 2 more. And that just goes back to my story of being able to step outside that wheel that I created so that I could have 2 more babies and be the present mom that I needed to be and need to be with them. And I get to fit this into the nooks and crannies. So if you're working full time and you're like, how am I going to fit this in? I did it with a half an hour a day in the very beginning. And that was just learning how to do this. And I know that most of us, if you're a busy person, you know how to get things done. And that's what I tell people. The residual income, the asset part of this, you guys, you are building generational wealth with something like this. This is something that's going to last lifetimes and continue to pay your family long after you're gone if you do this right. That is what is so, so beautiful about this. The tax benefits. A lot of people don't know this, and most people that are employees don't understand that the minute that you open your own business or start a business like this, you get incredible tax benefits. You can save up to $7,000 a year by doing something part-time, such as this kind of business. So for that alone is like, sign me up. The community and the purpose that you're given of helping other people become better and strive for excellence in their life is something, again, that you can't put a price tag on. It's one of those things that just fills up your cup when that you know that you have some kind of part in increasing and making someone's life better. The personal development, I didn't really understand this in the beginning, but I did know that the day that my life changed was the day that I decided I didn't want what I had anymore. I wanted my life to be better. I didn't want to be tired all the time. I didn't want to be struggling all the time. And I made a decision to do something different. And that is the day that turned my life around. For things to get better, you got to get better, whatever that may look like in your life. And, I just want to end with this, you guys. This isn't for everyone. And that's totally okay. We're not here to, again, sell you or convince you. Most people are afraid of change. Most people are comfortable going to work day after day, clocking in for somebody else, and that is okay. But if you're like me, if you're like Jennifer, Kamiley, so many beautiful faces on this call that think outside the box, you feel like you're open-minded, that you've always thought of yourself maybe as a dreamer like me, like Jennifer said 7.5 years ago. You guys, I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew that the dream that I had for my family was more than what I had at the moment. I knew I wanted something more. I knew I wanted to give my kids everything that they wanted, and I knew that I wanted mostly to give them my time. So if any of this relates to you, and if you feel that anything that I've said or Jennifer has said that this is something that you might want to know a little bit more about, all I can say is please be honest with yourself. Please be honest with the person that brought you to this call and let them know I do relate to that, because what I did, and I encourage you to do this, is close your eyes and think about your life in 5 to 10 years. Think about, if I continue doing the same thing, where am I going to be in 5 years? Where am I going to be in 10 years? What's my bank account going to look like? Am I going to be happy? Am I going to be living the life that I want to live? And if the answer is yes, and if you have a plan to get you to that destination, then high five. I wish you all the best and go get it. But if you don't have a plan, and if you're wondering, how am I going to get to the dreams that I've always dreamed of? I can honestly tell you that this is the golden ticket. And I'm not just saying that. I know that sounds a little crazy, but that's what it has been for me and so many hundreds of other people who are on my team, who are in this industry, not just my team, who have decided to do something different, who have decided to look outside the box and decided to help other people win. And by helping other people win, you win. And so I'll end it on this. And thank you so much for coming to the call, you guys. But I do believe that everything happens for a reason. You're on this call for a reason. The same wind blows on us all. One of my favorite quotes by Jim Rohn, the same wind blows on us all, the wind of change, the wind of grief, the economic wind, the political wind, the wind of COVID. The same wind blows on us all. It's not the blowing of the wind that determines your destination. It is the set of your sail. And the most beautiful thing about what we have with this industry, with this company, and what you're listening to right now is you have an opportunity to set a better sail for your life. You have an opportunity to live the life that you've always wanted to live. Is it easy? Heck no. It's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of letting the ego go and a lot of putting other people before you. But I can promise you that this industry and this company and joining forces with us will completely change your life for the better. So we are right at the 30-minute mark. I love it when that happens. I really hope that something we said resonated. The person that invited you will get back to you to answer any questions. And Jennifer and I are available. We love sharing more of our stories, but thank you so much for showing up. Thank you so much for being here. We do this every week. Thanks everyone. Mwah. Happy Wednesday. See you soon.